Welcome back to the First World Podcast. My name is Dan Clark. I'm here with my great friends Greg Braun.
Hey.
Heath Aldrich.
Do, Ray, Egon.
Madison Davis.
You just made me sad.
I know.
And our special guest, Mr. Carter Spade. Say hi, Carter.
Hey, zombies rule.
Today we're going to talk about post-apocalyptic genre, and we're going to have a post-apocalyptic triple barrel shotgun round with our great special guest. Stick around.
Welcome back. Welcome. So we are going to go through our now playing, talk about what we've been playing, but we do have a special guest on the show here. Old friend of mine. His name's Carter Spade. We kind of met in Fort Lauderdale, partied a little bit. He's a great guy. He's all into the apocalypse and the post-apocalypse. And so here we go. Carter, what's up? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I live in Baton Rouge now. I guess we both moved away from Florida.
Yeah.
And probably a good move in some ways. And,
it sounds like it.
Yeah.
Well, Madison inherited snow. I don't know how happy she is about that.
I like snow, so I miss that. But, so I live here. I pretty much do photography and, work for Electronic Arts on the SimCity team. I was there during a horrible launch.
Okay.
And,
sorry,
so it's
dude.
your fault, huh?
No. I was one of the people checking the servers religiously to make sure we were fixing it. So I was there till 1 a.m. one night. So
whoa.
Anyway, so yeah, now I live here and I get to work with games, and it's a lot of fun, in my opinion, seeing it from the other side. Especially since my name's in some credits, and I've worked on Warfighter and stuff like that, other games. Anyway, so now I just pretty much play. What I really like when I play games, to get really immersed. That's something I really like when I play. So I'm more into role-playing games kind of styles, like the Fallout especially. I haven't played that now because I'm playing as soon as they come out. Lately, what I've been playing is Dead Island. That's one game I noticed is not talked about a lot.
I really enjoyed Dead Island. I played the hell out of it with a relative of mine. Just really cool game.
Right. I completely agree. One thing I really like about it is it's not like a constant level of easy versus hard. It's sometimes you have two slow people coming towards you and you're like, all right, I have this. And then you hear that crazy scream off to your right, and then your blood starts to go because you're like, well, now I have to take care of these guys, and somebody's running at me top speed. And I really like how it keeps you immersed the whole time. You can't get lazy at any point.
No, it's really a dangerous game if you're just like, oh, I'm gonna go like try to see if I can find some things, and then you hear that scream and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
You're like looking for cars to jump on.
Exactly.
I gotta get my golf club out. I gotta hit this guy. And yeah, so it's a lot of fun. One thing that I did recently is I love Humble Bundle, and I get a lot of stuff from there, and I got this Android game bundle, and one of them on there was Oregon Trail.
Oh yeah,
I love Oregon Trail.
Yeah, and it's a remake of the Oregon Trail, obviously. And I grew up in Oregon, and the computers at that time were slow, so that's what we had to play in school. So I grew up on the Oregon Trail.
Where did you grow up in Oregon?
I grew up in Sherwood, Oregon.
Sherwood. Oh, excellent. I grew up in Amity, Oregon, which is about 40 minutes south.
Yeah. So you're closer in between to Salem, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Great. So
and so I love the Oregon Trail because it reminds me of how I used to always play that. You get dysentery still, all these things. and apparently there's a lot of, right. And the great thing about that is I ride the bus sometimes, and so I have now something where I don't mind doing that anymore. I get to play Oregon Trail. So it's definitely a fun game I've been playing. What I've been touching up on is Metro 2033, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And that one's really interesting. I like the play style.
Tell us about that one, because I don't think any of us have actually played 2033.
No, but I am actually, my now playing at the, later on is I'm currently playing Metro Last Light, but I haven't played the first one.
Yeah, I haven't played the second one yet. But it's one thing I like about it, it's really smooth. The interaction with the system, it's not blocky. That's one thing I don't like about a lot of games is if you go in a direction, you get caught on something stupid. I don't like that kind of play. So Metro 2033 is turning out to be pretty interesting so far. I haven't gotten far into it.
Would you say the controls are good in that game?
I play PC.
They're fucking with Heath over here because he was complaining about how he didn't like the controls of Metro Last Light. So they're just fucking with him. Don't mind it.
Okay. Yeah. I was a little confused. But, so. And then the other two is Left 4 Dead and Stalker. Now, Stalker is extremely difficult, and I'm busy a lot. I also, I recently got into this live action role playing, Dystopia Rising, and it's post-apocalyptic, live action role playing. And I did one in Bravo, Texas.
Yeah, because you just drove to Texas like 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, it was very recent. It was my first game. It was a lot of fun. I love camping. Growing up in Oregon, camped a lot. So you have to camp, and it's constantly going, even when you're sleeping. One time I got woken up, went outside, and these raiders were out there, and they killed me. Like, it was just, I got out of my tent, fell to the ground, and I was being torn open by raiders. So it's a lot of fun.
Sounds like a wild weekend.
Yeah. And then, but with Stalker's a very difficult game. That's one thing I noticed with that. And then Left 4 Dead, I feel, is very, fast action. Like, it just keeps going. I don't feel like there's a lot of immersion. But it is a lot of fun. The shooting, it's good if you just want to shoot a whole bunch of dead things.
Tell me about, what did you say, Stalker? I'm not familiar with that one.
Stalker, it's a post-apocalyptic, in Chernobyl. It takes place after the, fictional second explosion in the not too distant future, I believe is what it's
What platform is it on? Are you playing on PC?
I play PC.
Okay.
So yeah, it is on PC.
Is it a shooter, or I'm just sure I've never heard of it. It sounds interesting.
Shadow of Chernobyl. That was its subtitle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think they've got 2 of them now. Maybe
they've got 2 or 3. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, one thing that's supposedly liked about it is that it's very difficult. But as I was saying, I get busy a lot. I've been making outfits for that live action thing, and I like to make a lot of crazy stuff. And so I don't have a lot of time to get completely immersed in the game. And I think Stalker is one that you have to really go, okay, this is a tough game. I need to bunker down and put a lot of time into this one. So, but I do like how it looks so far. It's kind of very dry. It seems like it's very no man's land up there.
Nice.
Cool. I'll have to look that one up.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned DayZ. I know you were talking to me about DayZ the other day.
Oh, right. I don't know
Don't
how
forget DayZ.
Didn't put that on my... Yeah, that's one where DayZ to me is extremely... Like, what I like about Dead Island, DayZ is constantly that. It's just, you have to be aware of everything, and it's not just the monsters. The most dangerous thing in DayZ are the other players. And I had this one person where he was laying down and his leg was broken, and you can fix that with a certain item. And he asked me if I had any. I said, I don't. He says, well, can you give me some water? I'm thirsty. So I walked over there, and he hit me with an axe and crippled me and took my stuff and ran off. and so I'm sitting there like, great. So now I have to crawl into a house so zombies don't see me and see if I can get a friend to log on and try and save my life, or I'll lose everything else that I have. So it's very difficult.
That's
when
awesome.
You are alone. That's the thing. You can't be alone. Like, I was playing with 2 friends the other day, and we came across one guy, and we're talking on Skype, so we don't have to talk through the game, so he can't hear us. Like, should we kill this guy? And I was like, I don't want to just always be the group that goes around killing everybody. So I was like, wait a second, I need matches. Hold on. So I talked to him, game on, do you have matches? He's like, yeah, I've got matches, bro. I've got matches. And he throws them down. He's like, am I good? I'm like, yeah, you can go. And I mugged him for matches in a video game. I've never done that ever. That was amazing. So that's the thing about DayZ. It's like matches can save your life. That's how you want to have everything on you at all times. So it's very intense.
That's pretty crazy. That's a pretty decent group of apocalyptic games there.
Yeah, when Madison said you were into apocalyptic stuff and post-apocalyptic stuff and we should have you on for this episode, I was like, okay, yeah. And then you're just like, damn, okay, never mind. This guy knows what he's talking about.
He's a fucking pro.
He is the pro.
One of my hobbies is actually preparing for a zombie apocalypse. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm not like one of those fanatics, but just as a hobby, if I see like a life straw where you can filter water from anywhere, I like to collect those kind of things just as a hobby.
We have a really active kind of survivalist and I don't know what do you
zombie preparedness.
Well,
yeah,
and that's exactly what I was going to say. You're familiar with what is
Zombie Squad?
Zombie Squad, right?
Actually, no.
Okay, so Zombie Squad, it's zombiehunters.org or whatever. They're actually a nonprofit organization. They're a bunch of survivalists, charity people, all kinds of stuff. And they're actually nationwide. I joined up with, they didn't have a South Florida one, but they had like a Southwest Florida chapter. And then when I found out I was moving to St. Louis here, I looked them up, and it turns out that chapter 001, which is the original chapter that started the nationwide.
Yeah, it was started by 5 of my friends.
Yeah. They're actually, it's a St. Louis chapter. And I attend their meetings every once in a while. They're all really cool guys.
Was it Jamie?
Jamie Toon is one.
That's what I thought.
Ben Goldman is one.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I just put 2 and 2 together, and I got 4.
Good.
Which is good.
That's a good thing.
I think I've met Jamie Toon.
I'm sure you have.
I think I've met him a few times.
Super cool guy. Super cool.
So
he may be listening to the sound of your voice right now.
Awesome. It better be.
This is very meta, Jamie, if you're listening.
Nice. So have you played anything else recently?
Oh, myself? No, that's pretty much what I've been on recently.
All right, cool.
That's apocalyptic related.
Awesome. Sounds really good. There's a lot of stuff. A lot of good stuff. Heath, how about you? What have you been playing?
Well, I tried to get into the post-apocalyptic mode and tried playing Metro Last Light under your recommendation, and I could not get into it. And I'll talk about it more when everybody's going to be talking about their feelings of it. But,
you know what that means, right?
Huh?
That means you are not prepared for the apocalypse.
Oh, I am ready to play hardcore mode on Fallout New Vegas. Like, I am ready for the apocalypse.
It's not the same.
But
Apocalypse isn't going to let you wait and stop and think about your inventory.
No, I will absolutely have my VATs on, though. That is coming with me into the apocalypse. So I played a little bit of that. I just couldn't get into it, so I was like, okay, I still have this Killzone, Shadowfall, which is kind of about a dystopian future. I was like, this kind of fits. And it's a very competent shooter. It controls very well. It controls the way I feel a shooter should. I am just so uninterested in the story and the game. I just am like, well, this is kind of boring.
And just a reminder, that's on PS4, right?
PS4, yeah. Okay. Still, it's an amazing looking game. It is absolutely gorgeous, but I don't know why it just doesn't hit that sweet spot. So, out of all the things that I played, I did download this title for the PlayStation Vita called TXK. From Llamasoft, which are the original team who did Tempest for Atari, and they also did Tempest 2000 for the Jaguar. So you guys have all played Tempest, correct?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Dan nodding, yes. It is exactly Tempest, only with modern day vector graphics. So it's still the wireframe play field. Only instead of it just being a black background, galaxies are exploding and all these things are shooting at you. And then you have the crazy, high energy techno music blasting at you. It is an absolute, just a treat to play if you arcade shooters. I've always liked Tempest.
Tempest was pretty good.
Well, and it maintains the same level of difficulty even on the Vita. Even though now you have a jump option, once you level up enough, you can jump off the grid and avoid getting hit and shot, which also can allow you to fall into other things that'll hurt you. But it allows me to feel like I'm getting my quarter's worth, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
I actually feel like I'm good at this game. And it's just been a real treat to just zone out to and just do some crazy arcade shooters. Cool. So I highly recommend to anybody who is into that genre or has a PlayStation Vita and wants to try something new. I mean, you just can't, you can't say enough good about this team. They really know how to make a very competent arcade style game, and I am quite in love with it.
But so it's basically a tube shooter.
Yeah, tube shooter. Yep.
Which is so I don't think this company made the original Tempest. I see that they made Tempest 2000, but I don't see anything about them making the original.
I think it's the original, the same guy.
Pretty sure all the people that built Tempest are now dead because they'd have to be 100 and something years old, right?
Oh, you.
It's Jeff Minter is the guy.
Jeff Minter,
and he's really well known. He's made a lot of stuff. I think you might be mixing it. I mean, he definitely made Tempest 2000, a lot of the later Tempests. He made a bunch of stuff in for the Atari. He made Grid Runner, which is a fairly well-known one. It looks like he did a lot of ports for stuff he made a Defender clone and a Centipede clone for different things, but I don't see anything about the original Tempest. But I do love tube shooters.
No,
Those are very fun.
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's the other guy. There's like, because Lamasoft is 2 guys. So, but yeah, Mentor, he's, now that I'm staring at that. Yeah, you're right. But it's
I'm
awesome.
always right.
It's awesome.
I just want to make sure we get our facts straight, man. People fact check our shit all the time.
They do.
Call us
They
out.
do.
Call us out on the webs. Other than that, I'm right at the last level of Final Fantasy VIII.
So where are you at Final Fantasy VIII? You were telling me this on the phone earlier that you can't beat it.
So, Ultimacia,
Yeah.
that final battle where they start you off with random 3 characters and they are constantly doing status effect damage and like multiple attacks like in succession. I always get to like the end of the second form and I haven't healed in time.
Are you just not leveled up enough, or do you not have the right magic junction?
I just don't have the right abilities junctioned, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I think I need to have, like, the recovery stuff set up.
Yeah, because I was trying to remember. It's been a really long time, but I don't remember ever having a problem with the last battle. I always remember the last battle being fairly pushover-y.
Well, if everything's set up right, it's a total pushover, but, like...
That's a whole lot of that game. A whole lot of Final Fantasy VIII is if you have the right abilities and the right GFs and the right things attached and you know what to have junctioned, then most guys can't do shit to you. I mean, you can pretty much build invincible things for that battle. It's just knowing what those things are.
Right.
And if you're not going off of a guide or anything, then it's a little bit of trial and error. Play through them and go, oh, that's what they're going to throw at me, so I should junction this. Yeah, I should junction auto recovery or auto potion or something.
And I think that's what I need to do, because I can't remember how I beat it the last time, but I remember not having issue, but like totally having issue this time. So, and other than that, I mean, that was my week there. Greg, what have you been doing?
Well, I've been changing the flow of the podcast.
Cool.
Actually, Madison and I both played one game in particular that I'd like Madison to set up and knock down real quick.
Okay.
Because I think she played it more than I did. I got, a little bit into it, but it was blown away. So I just kind of want to hop in and say a few things here and there while she's talking.
Sounds cool.
Apparently Heath couldn't remember the order.
I totally didn't remember the order. Yeah.
That's okay. Dan can go last this time.
He never remembers me.
Oh.
So play this
Clever.
little game.
Little.
It's on PlayStation Network. It is a free game. The instant
Plus,
game collection
yeah.
for the Plus. Capcom game. Remember Me.
See how I set that up there?
Doo-doo-doo.
I'm clever.
That was
Yes.
pretty clever.
We never remembered it.
Cardi, still there?
Yes,
Awesome.
absolutely.
That's our 10-minute check from Skype. Make sure Skype's working.
All right, cool. So I played Remember Me, and it's a dystopian future, very cyberpunk. Basically, memories are being sold back to the populace in this game.
First they're being captured, though.
Well, yeah. Basically what it is, people have these devices that are implanted into them to where they can relive memories, remember things vividly and everything. And so the company that has these devices basically holds copyright for these memories and sells them back to people. And people become extremely addicted to reliving their happiest memories, and they end up not going to work and living in slums because all they do is relive their favorite memories
So
over and
it's
over.
basically Strange Days.
Basically.
Okay.
I was
Like,
thinking
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Very fine.
and so just like any good cyberpunk dystopian future, you play someone that's fighting against the evil corporation.
Damn the man.
And so you play Nilin, who's
Hot.
she's looking pretty hot.
Yeah,
she's looking pretty hot.
Attractive.
Yeah, and she's French, which
With an English accent.
Yeah.
Which is great.
So it takes place in like Neo Paris or something.
2088 or something like that.
Beautiful game.
Oh, God.
Immaculate. This game is completely gorgeous. Not to get into it too much, but it suffers from awkward camera syndrome, where it's like your character kind of takes up too much on the screen. So you have a hard time like seeing around your character, and sometimes you're when you turn a corner, all of a sudden your camera is like looking through a wall for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, I totally know that word.
Yeah, awkward camera syndrome. And Greg, did you find the battles a little button mashy?
I've only had a couple so far. I mean, I managed to download it and play it for a little while, and the first thing it does is it sets you up with a tutorial for how to build your combos.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, since I didn't have a lot of time, I skipped the tutorial, and then I had 2-button combos that I was using.
Big mistake.
It was square, 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 X, square, 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 X, which ironically is the same tactic that I use in programming music.
So is it like a action game?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like half Mirror's Edge, like parkour.
I like Mirror's Edge.
And the other half is like kind of like 3D beat 'em up.
I would say like Uncharted style.
I'm actually more interested in it now. For some reason I thought it was like a Deus Ex type of first person shooter stuff looking thing.
It's all hand to hand.
So
at first,
I'm more down with that.
I thought it was Heavy Rain at first, only in Cyberpunk. I was like, I don't know.
I'd play that.
It looks good enough to where it looks like it would be a game like Heavy Rain.
Okay.
But it's very beat 'em up and like scaling buildings because there's no straight way to get to.
That sounds more up my alley, actually.
Interesting.
That actually sounds cool.
I'm trying to think, like, kind of reminds me a little bit of, what was that game, where, DMC, right? Like DMC style fighting, because you're constantly comboing your way around.
It's not
you're not
nearly
jumping.
It's not nearly as fast as that.
Yeah. But then Uncharted style climbing around. But then you also there's a side game, or a separate part of the game where I believe it's 3 or 4 times in the game you go into someone else's mind and you literally rearrange their memories. You're mind hacking people, which ultimately that's pretty rad cyber tech.
It's pretty badass. Basically what it is you hack into the person's memory because everybody has these memory chips in them and you happen to have the ability to remix someone's memory. So you hack into their memory, and you can view it and you can rewind and fast forward and slow down and all that kind of stuff and just kind of, check out their memory, with a specific, situation. And you look for these things that they call in their memory glitches, and memory glitches give you the option to actually change details in their memory. Like the first one that you run to kill you because her husband or whatever is one of the memory junkies and he's in the hospital and he needs treatment and you've got a huge bounty on your head. So you end up finally being able to hack into her memory, and like the horrible person you are, you change her memory to think that her husband died in treatment, and now she has no reason to fight you. It's really fucked up.
It's pretty awful.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's called good strategizing.
Right.
It seems like from the very beginning anyway that there's going to be a complex story. I mean, obviously your hero is a person who is having their memories erased at the very beginning, and you have a kind of amnesia.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to work your way through to try to find out, what's your story, who are your real allies, who are the real villains, that sort of thing. And in a beautiful, little bit grindy, all the fights are kind of samey.
Mm-hmm.
But the story is really great. So I'm looking really forward to digging into this one and getting a little further down the road.
The environments are so vivid in this game. And you're walking down all these like slum alleys and there's graffiti all over the place, but the graffiti doesn't repeat. Like it's all different. It's all very unique. Like you don't see the same like background tiles twice. It's just the environment is probably the most amazing thing about the game.
The voice acting and the sound is also pretty good.
The music's excellent in it.
Yeah. So I've got no complaints so far. Did you play anything else?
I played a lot more Saints Row 3.
Oh, yeah?
I'm completely addicted to it.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to be playing Saints Row 4 here very soon because I liked Saints Row 3 so much.
It's totally on sale right now for like 24 hours on through Humble Bundle Store.
I think I have it on Steam. I don't know. I have like 100 games on Steam at this point. So I think I might have it on Steam. But honestly, console gamer. Like I tried playing Saints Row 3 on through Steam, and it was cool, but it didn't click with me like how it did on console. So, I mean, that's what I played.
Okay.
Did you play anything else?
Well, I played this little title you guys might have heard of called MechWarrior Online.
Woo!
Yeah. The only thing I'll talk about this week is that I actually got on the forums inside of the game and on their website and started talking to some people and found myself playing with a bunch of them last night for a few hours. It was really cool. In fact, one of the guys I was playing with was this dude that mercilessly had killed me earlier that weekend a couple of times. And I said as much. I said, dude, you were so on my list. But it turns out they're all really nice guys. Ironically, they're up in Canada, so that's pretty cool. And And also, Heath got me a Humble Indie bundle for my birthday, which is Wednesday.
Yay!
Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to playing Dust and Elysian Tale. It's one of the 5 games that's in that thing. There are a couple of others that I'm really stoked about. Some of them that I'm like, I better try it out and see what it's like.
Sure.
But I really need to find my joystick for my computer before I can really indulge in them too much.
So this is one of the PC Humble bundles? Or
Yeah,
PC and Mac?
Yeah.
Cool.
All of the games are Mac compatible except for one of them in this bundle. And,
Bastards.
who cares? I just turn my machine over to the Mac or the PC side and play it there.
And who cares? Heath bought it for him, so.
Yeah, dude, I'm
it's
so
easy.
stoked. Thank you very much, brother. That was very kind.
Dude, well, when I saw that game was on there, I was like, we have been talking about one of us playing this for, I think, over a year.
Yeah,
now.
it's been over a year.
It's time.
Yeah, and I watched the intro video again, and I'm like, man, now I remember why I wanted to play this.
Yeah.
Looks really, really badass. So, yeah, next week I'll talk about the same stuff. No! Next week I'll be talking about Shadowrun Dragonfall.
That's right.
Which comes out the day after my birthday, and I'm really, really stoked. So look forward to that. Dan, what do you got?
Well, first I want to hear more about another game you were playing. You were mentioning before the show. So you downloaded Etrian Odyssey. Why did you download Etrian Odyssey?
Okay.
Yeah, that
because
is a weird choice.
the reason was I like JRPGs. It looked like a JRPG. And it was a situation where I could get it for cheap. And I've been playing mostly MechWarrior Online, and Remember Me was downloading. I'm like, shit, this is going to take 3 million hours. I got to find something else I could talk about. But it was just, it was an impulse decision and a bad one.
You do not like it. Etrian Odyssey, for those who aren't in the know, is a very, very straightforward, old school RPG, randomly generated dungeons. It is very difficult. It's definitely a game, like I was telling Greg, where, you want to pull out the graph paper from your Dungeons and Dragons world and be drawing maps of where you're going. It is a fucking tough game. So it's just funny that you downloaded it because it's the exact. If you would have texted me really quick and said, "Hey man, what do you know about Etrian Odyssey? Should I download it?" I'd be like, "Run screaming, Greg."
Right.
Not for you. I would personally really like it. I played the second one, and it's super hard, but they're very cool, really well done games for what they are. But yeah, not your style of game at all.
Most of the time, whenever I'm playing with the 3DS, I'm either in bed or I'm sitting on the couch and Jen's watching TV. But there is no paper anywhere near me. So yeah.
So real quick, back to Shadowrun.
Yeah,
because I know you can't stop talking about it. Carter's a fan of Shadowrun also. Right, Carter?
So I've heard.
Oh, yes. Quite so.
Are you getting the new expansion, or is it an expansion? Do you need the original for it, or?
I think you need the original for it, yeah.
Gotcha.
But it looks super rad. I read a couple of reviews that were sent to me by none other than the Buff over the weekend, and they're talking about how it takes them back to the pen and paper days, where character is really important to this one, and I
like that.
Yeah, it's going to be really fantastic. What did you think of the previous installment?
You mean the one that just came out, or
last year? Yeah.
Yeah, that one, I really liked it a lot. I was afraid that with how spoiled we are now with how gaming is so advanced, that it would be harder for me to go back to, because I used to play Baldur's Gate, that kind of style. And I loved those games at the time, and I haven't been there for a while. But I loved it. I got immersed. The story was good. I liked the drawings. I liked the art. They really made it look how I would want it to look. I had no complaints about anything like that.
Well, it felt very fast, old school Shadowrun to me. So, I don't know if it did to you, but I don't know how old you are, whether or not you got involved in that stuff, but I had all the books.
Carter, are you over 30?
I am 33, and I have played Tabletop Shadowrun, and it was fantastic.
Right
there you go.
The Brotherhood. Well done. All right, Dan, take it.
Well, to wrap up the now playing and to lead us up to the post-apocalyptic stuff, I played a few different things. First of all, let's get some stuff out of the way. Lost my job.
No,
That's a new opportunity.
No, this you didn't lose your job. Your job lost you.
My job lost me. I am on a 3-week vacation, paid vacation from work, which will include a trip to the Caribbean and currently jury duty. So that's my life right now. So I have time to play things. So I actually plugged my PlayStation 3 in for the first time since I moved. So that was in November. And I hopped on PlayStation Plus, which I still pay for, and thought I should download some stuff. So I downloaded Metro Last Light because Madison's been talking about it, and I started playing it. And let's get into it, Heath.
How are the controls, Dan?
I think it controls great. I love the way it controls. I love the way it plays. It's slower. It's a little bit jerky. It makes so much more sense. It's not the smooth, your guns, just kind of sweeps from side to side. It's hard to hit things. And more importantly, Heath, and I'm not going to bang you on this because if you didn't like it. But you certainly, I don't think you played long enough. Did you get to play into any points where you started encountering the Dark Ones or any of the creatures in the above world, or were you really just in that early part where you're just fighting Nazis?
I got kidnapped by the Nazis and was escaping their dungeon, and I just kept on getting seen, and I was like, I am in the fucking shadows, and
you've got to be ducked. And you've got to be in the shadows. And I actually thought it did stealth really well. I enjoyed the way it does stealth. And then later on, when the light and stuff really comes into play, because you start fighting these creatures in the tunnels that are very averse to light. So actually staying in the light is very helpful when fighting against those creatures. But then when you get to another station where there's humans that you might not want to, all of a sudden it's stealth again and getting not in the light. Cardi still there?
Yeah.
Okay, we just heard a ba-doop, so we were scared. So it's very cool how it plays with those things. Like you fight these spiders where if you stay in the light, if you stay next to your comrade who's got a, torch, they don't come near you and you can just kind of shuffle. It's almost survival horror. That's what they bill it as. Mm-hmm. It's a good mix between FPS, but if you go in guns a-blazing, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I think I didn't like the gunplay in it very much. I thought that they were kind of generic feeling, and everything I felt was generic except for the actual story, which I thought was really cool. And I think I got to the second metro station, and I was, this is not for me. I want it to be, but I
really don't. We'll talk offline, I'm sure. I really don't understand what you didn't like about it. I just don't. Cause personally, it struck me immediately and I really started to enjoy it. I like the way it plays. I like the gunplay. I like the fact that it's not, if you run out and just start shooting stuff, you're just gonna get fucking shot.
Yeah.
And your guns aren't super powerful and there aren't attachments for it. It's just here's a fucking old school Kalashnikov, because you live in a post-apocalyptic world under the subway in fucking, nuclear fallout Russia. There's not going to be plasma grenades.
Right.
Just fuck no.
No.
You get a shitty old shotgun because that's what there is. And that's cool. I really like the story, so much so that I started to look up on Wikipedia the story for the first game. I was like, man, I want to catch up on the story from the first game because I'm just jumping into the second game because it's free. And I didn't realize that Metro 2033, right? Mm-hmm. So it's called. Started out as a book.
I was unaware.
It is a book. It is a book by a guy. Let me look it up really quick because it's definitely a Russian name.
Yakov Smirnov.
No,
that's the old comedian. It's a Russian name. Dmitry Yermakov.
Dmitry Yermakov. So it's a book that was written well before the first game came out. It has been translated into 35 different languages, won multiple awards. And I immediately bought the book and I'm reading it, and the book is fucking fantastic.
Really?
It is such a good book. That I'm probably going to stop actually playing Metro Last Light, and I'm going to go buy Metro 2033 and play through it. So then I can actually play through the story, because Last Light takes place afterwards. But it's extremely good.
Did you see the Easter egg in the room that you start off the game, that there was a Metro 2033 copy paperback book sticking out of a box?
No.
I totally noticed that. I was like, that's really clever.
So I've been on jury duty all day today. So I was literally sitting in a room just staring at the wall. And I've been reading that book, and I'm maybe 25% through the book, but it's extremely good. Besides the fact that every location and name in this book is a Russian name, and it's so hard to read. Mm-hmm. It's like, we're going to go to Dushnikov station. I'm like, fuck, I don't know what he just said. But besides the names, it's really good. And I'm excited about this series. For a series that I knew nothing about before downloading this, besides that Madison kind of liked it, I'm totally jazzed about this series. Very cool. The story, if you haven't played it, it basically takes place in Russia and Moscow after a nuclear war has broken out, and basically it's 20 years later, and all the humans still alive in Moscow live underground in the metro, in old abandoned subway stations. That's hence the name Metro.
So, real quick story.
Yeah.
As you all know, I like guns.
Uh-huh.
I have a bunch of them. So I got one in November, and it's an AK variant. Okay. And it came with like really ugly wood furniture on it. Okay. And so the other night I was like, oh, I really want to do something with this. And I ended up finding like crazy mismatched furniture for it that Dan had lying around. And I threw it on there, and now it looks like something you would pick up in the Metro.
Good.
Nice.
I call it the bastard rifle.
So, and it takes place underground, so humanity has kind of splintered off into various governments in the Metro, as we are wont to do, and there's traitors and stuff like that. But more importantly, there's mutants, creatures that have mutated on the surface that have made their way down to the Metro. And then there's a whole nother subset called the Dark Ones, which are literally this kind of undead ghoul, certainly not zombies.
No.
But
thank God.
but they're basically an evolution of humanity.
They're like aliens or something.
They're not aliens. They're because you get a whole bunch more of this in the book, and I don't know. That's why I really want to play the first game, because I want to see how well it does the story. But basically, it's a human evolution that has survived solely on radiation on the surface, and now has like it's this weird hybrid thing. And they're these creatures that actually they don't have weapons. They don't fight you. They fight you 100% with fear. They basically can enter your mind and just make you so scared that you just either flee or kill yourself. And they're slowly infecting the Metro with just this basically with the message of resistance is futile, and humanity should just give up and let the Dark Ones just take over because. So and that's really cool. It adds that psychological thing. It's not these aren't zombies or monsters that are going to come and eat your children and rip your flesh apart. They're just going to come in and psychically just cause you to have so much despair that you just give up on life.
They're going to brain rape you.
Yeah. Which is
Brain
cool
rape.
though. I mean, that's different for survival horror. It's not a guy with a giant axe, and it's not giant monsters. It's much more psychological and cerebral, and that's very cool. So that really got its hooks in me.
By the way, brain rape is the name of my new band.
I thought it was something else about hashtags or caps lock or something.
Yeah, we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's all I really have to say about it. I haven't played too much of it, but I've been reading the book. I'm going to play the first one. It's a cool series, so it's probably something I'll be talking about a lot more. I would highly recommend the book if you like reading. It's probably the first game I can think of. Major title. What's another game that was based off of a book?
All of the Tom Clancy stuff.
Yeah, but like really based off a book, because Tom Clancy stuff is just Tom Clancy presents military guys with guns.
Yeah. Military guys with guns. That's the name of my new band.
I'm sure if we thought about it, we could come up with a couple.
Probably, but there's not many, and that surprised me. I didn't know that it was, but as an avid reader, it's right up my alley as far as a book. And for it to tie together with a cool game that I really enjoy playing that has excellent controls, there you go.
I think the controls suck.
Shut up, Greg.
I haven't even played it.
I know you haven't.
Really quick, are you reading? This is a sidebar. Are you reading on your Kindle or are you reading on your newfangled phone?
Both.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because the Windows phone has a really good Kindle app, and they sync. So as long as they're both connected to the internet, I can read, 20 pages on my phone. Then as soon as I open my Kindle, it goes, hey, on your Windows phone, you left off on this page. Do you want to go to it? And I go, yep. And it goes right to where I just left off.
Nice.
So I go back and forth between the two of them, and it works very well.
I was going to say, for me, ideal size for reading is the Kindle Fire.
Yeah.
On my iPhone, I'll sometimes read books, but it's a little bit claustrophobic.
It's a little small.
The Windows phone seems like it's got a much bigger.
Is kind of perfect. It's a really good size. I made the text a little bit smaller. I got pretty good eyes.
Yeah, you do.
But I can read. I mean, it fits.
You can read?
Yeah, that's really not too bad.
It fits a decent amount of text on the phone.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
So it's not ideal, but certainly, when I'm pooping or something, I can be like, hey, man, let's get a page of Metro out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
So there you
Tell
go.
me again how you lost your job.
By pooping and reading.
Pooping and reading.
It's what I do.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's about it. Plus, I will say I've been continuing to play Inazuma 11, the soccer RPG I told you guys about. And it has
So rad.
Weird.
And it has continued to be completely batshit insane and awesome, and I'm getting really good at it now that everyone's got super shots where they can summon dragons and
With
Nice.
and dragon soccer balls.
dragon soccer balls, and there's a tag team one where a dragon comes down and picks up the soccer ball, and the other kid turns into a fire tornado and kicks the ball, and it turns into a flaming dragon ball.
Fucking Shaolin Soccer the game.
And it's soccer. I do wonder though why all the random battles I'll be like walking around town and like the comic book club will just be like, let's play soccer, and we'll have a battle, and I'm like, why is the comic book club challenging the soccer club to a soccer battle? And why are they better than me? Like, why are they all higher levels? This makes no sense. But again, it's a soccer RPG, so you can't expect much, but it's still a very cool game. Well worth the $20.
Cool. Awesome.
That's about it. Unless anybody has anything else. Carter, did you think of anything else you've been playing?
No, I mean, you guys pretty much covered. Yeah, I mean, Shadowrun is the only other one, but we talked about that.
There you go. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break here, and we're going to come back with our feature topic. We're going to talk about post-apocalypse, the genre. Yes, we'll talk about some zombies. We'll talk about things like Fallout, Metro, all that sort of stuff. Waterworld.
I was hoping someone would bring up my favorite post-apocalyptic movie.
The Postman.
The Postman.
And we will get Carter, our resident post-apocalyptic genius, on this. I was trying to think of the other word.
Where are you going with this?
There's a different word that I didn't think of. Aficionado.
Perfect.
That's a good word.
Perfect.
We'll be right back, suckers. And we're back. This week's feature topic, as I just said moments ago, is post-apocalypse. So first, I want to get this out of the way. Let's define the post-apocalyptic genre. It has to be after the apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Done. Yep. Genre defined.
A society-ending catastrophe has had to take place.
Heath, you're making it too complicated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, so let me ask this, though. Can we think of any games that take place during the apocalypse? You either save the world from the apocalypse in a game, or it's already happened.
Darksiders. It's kind of that.
The apocalypse has already happened. I mean, the very first level there is, but after that, I mean, the world was literally
destroyed.
Hell has ripped a hole into New York City. So
Lightning Returns. It
did
takes
not
place
play that.
during the apocalypse.
It does.
But
take
does the
place
apocalypse
right
happen, or do you stop it? I want to play a game where you play in the apocalypse, the apocalypse is fucking occurring, and you're trying to survive it.
Well, there's Plague Inc. on the Android. Plague
dude, Plague Inc.'s the shit. Except,
and you start an apocalypse.
I was gonna say, you are the apocalypse in that game.
Yeah.
You know what was that game that I didn't like? The one with the zombies.
There's a lot of games you don't like, bro.
Right, but the one in particular, the one with the guy and his kid.
Oh, Last of Us.
Yeah, that one starts out with the apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
And it happens. And
can
then you
name-
continue
But then
afterwards.
it's 20 years later.
Right.
Yeah, but the first...
I know, but I want to play
half hour.
a whole game where it's just in the apocalypse.
Okay, how about this? I can name a game where the first half of the game is before the apocalypse and the entire half of the game is after the apocalypse.
Final Fantasy VI.
Shut up!
Hells yeah.
Yeah.
What about...
Take my answer.
Isn't there a Zelda that's like that too?
Yeah, I mean, Majora's Mask.
Well,
yeah,
Ocarina
last
of
3
Time.
days, or
Ocarina of Time also, if you go forward through time, I mean, everything's all fucked up. But
We just put Zelda in post-apocalyptic.
Zelda, Ocarina of Time, half of it is a post-apocalyptic
Dude,
game.
Wind Waker is Waterworld.
But Wind Waker is actually post-apocalypse.
Yeah.
Hyrule has been completely flooded and destroyed. The most cartoony Nintendo game is actually a post-apocalyptic game. You heard it here first. All right, so let's talk about the real genre, what most people think. Carter, let's just start with you, because you really seems to be your wheelhouse. What is it about the post-apocalyptic genre in general that draws you in, that you really like?
Well, for me, when it comes down to the core of it, it's the closest I can get to the Wild West. Like the mentality of you have to own who you are, you have to survive at all times. Everything is a test, and everybody who is alive is proving themselves in some way or another, instead of just going to McDonald's and getting a McFlurry or something like that. I like the idea that everybody there potentially is able to survive better than you, so everybody's potentially dangerous to you.
Are you saying you got a problem with McFlurry, sir?
No, actually, I love McFlurries. I just want one. I was thinking of
Good.
But
No.
it's not all I do. You see what I'm saying? It's not the only thing I do.
That's definitely a good way to put it. It's not even a way I thought about it. Even you earlier kind of equating Oregon Trail to that kind of makes me think of that. It really is just, it's not necessarily kill or be killed, but it's
Survival.
or don't.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of similar how it is to me, for me also, except for with situations like post-apocalyptic, especially like, ones that have to do with like plagues or nuclear wasteland or whatever the case is. That's something that like I'm almost mentally preparing myself for, you know, and I could see myself in that situation, and I kind of equate my own skills and my own talents to how I would be able to do in a post-apocalyptic world, you know?
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Keith, you also really like post-apocalypse. I mean, you really have liked the Fallout series.
I grew up on a mixed forest farmland out in Oregon. Like I had to stockpile toilet paper because the nearest place to get it was 25 miles away. I love that whole survival mentality, and if a game can figure out a way to take me there and get in that headspace, I love it. And I think for me, like the Fallout games were a little sadomasochistic gameplay for me, because I could not stop that game the second I got into it. It was actually almost sick how addicted I was to it.
Mm-hmm. Same thing for me.
Yeah.
Greg, tell us about your post-apocalyptic non-obsession.
I must say that Greg got me into the modern day post-apocalyptic thing.
Oh, I did?
Because you kept on telling me to play Fallout 3.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, man, it's going to get me into MMOs. And you're like, no, just touch this game.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah. The post-apocalyptic thing was always something that I enjoyed in fiction, RPGs and the like. Most of the best RPGs that I've ever played, either tabletop or on a computer or a console, have been in a rational sense a kind of post-apocalyptic kind of game. But I was thinking, like Fallout, obviously 1 and 2, and Fallout Tactics and the stuff that goes along with it. But even modern MMOs like World of Warcraft had their own cataclysm. In the middle of it.
That's a podcast inside joke.
Yeah.
Cataclysm.
But no, they had the cataclysm, and it took the world and turned it upside down, and it was cool. I think that the key factor in any post-apocalyptic game or function or fiction is taking what is commonly held as society and turning it upside down and then making it work somehow. And in most cases, it's called, we're humans, we have limited resources, and we become assholes. And that's pretty much what most post-apocalyptic stories kind of revolve around. But yeah, man, I have to think it was a lot of science fiction stuff that I dug back in the day. Animes, that sort of thing. It all kind of came around to making me a big fan of this genre, sans zombies. Because zombies are a cheap way to make a game happen.
That's true.
It's stealth.
And not really going after the zombie things, but the type of music that we listen to also, like Greg, you're into like industrial music.
Oh, totally.
Carter and I used to hang out at clubs where it was like mostly like rivet heads and industrial music and all that kind of stuff. And that really plays into the whole like post-apocalyptic type of vibe and aesthetic, I think.
I've decided to realign my listening taste, though. I now listen to Batman music. That's what I'm into.
Only Batman.
Only darkness. It was awesome. So, Dan, take us to the next level here.
Well, so let's talk about a little bit of history, because that's what I do.
You're Dr. Dan.
So, one thing that I find weird is if you just go to Google and you start typing post-apocalyptic anything, the first few things are post-apocalyptic video games, post-apocalyptic PC games, post-apocalyptic. This is a genre that, while it is around in lots of other things, there's fiction and there's movies and there's books, it has really taken a hold of gaming and is very much more prevalent in gaming than I think in anything else currently.
I think the best part about that is it's almost accidentally mainstream. Like a lot of the video game genres that we are into as specific nerds are fantasy, or they're this or they're that. But post-apocalyptic has its way into shooters and other kinds of really mainstream kind of context.
It's kind of an easy way to do realistic fiction against unrealistic things.
Right.
It's hard to just have like a realistic world, but there's also monsters just cause.
Right.
It's an easy way to start a game. You go, well, the world ended 50 some odd years ago, or 2,000 years ago because of something. We don't even really need to tell you what. And now this is the world, and there's monsters there. Go.
Well,
you don't really need to re-explain more.
Well, a post-apocalyptic video game innately has everything you need for a video game. It has struggle, it has the environment, the world, the survival instinct, the weapons, everything. You don't need, it's practically tailor-made for video games because you don't necessarily need a love interest like you would in like a movie or something like that. You don't need that in video games. It's all about the struggle and the survival.
Well, and, color palette and design things, you don't actually have to get it right. And sometimes, broken things work better. And that's what I realized. Lots of shadows and weird stuff.
We can just make everything dark and gray.
Yeah.
And we can just say it's a style. No, go for
One thing I was thinking about what you were saying about how it's an easy concept. And that's one thing I thought about Borderlands. Now, I love Borderlands. I love that game. I'm not putting it down at all. But I felt like I was playing a shooter that happened to be in a apocalyptic skin, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Definitely.
So, post-apocalyptic stuff in other mediums, one of the earliest things you have, I've actually read this. Has anybody read The Last Man?
No.
It's by Mary Shelley, same lady who wrote Frankenstein.
Okay.
Yeah.
It takes place in like the 1800s or 1700s, something like that. There's like knights and shit. But it's basically an old school post-apocalyptic. There's a plague that is wiping out pretty much everyone, and people are trying to survive it.
And for them, that's almost realistic.
Yeah,
right,
and
at
exactly.
that time, sure.
Well, that's what's really funny. That's what I want to bring into is because you have that, and then there's not a whole lot of post-apocalyptic stuff until we get into the 1900s and the dawn of the nuclear age. And all of a sudden we have a very easy way to say, here's how the world ended. And a large amount of post-apocalyptic games involve nuclear war, nuclear fallout, nuclear stuff, because it's just like with The Last Man, with her in this time period being worried about disease wiping out humanity. It's not a looming threat right now. We don't go sleep at night worried about nuclear war, but
maybe we should though.
But it is on some small level fucking feasible, and that makes it scarier.
And that's the thing. That was like the first time the world really came up against something that could decimate everything.
Yeah.
Plagues were bad, horrible, killed millions of people.
Then we found penicillin.
Yeah. And
good old fungus.
Yeah, but
red mold.
With nuclear weapons, all of a sudden they're man-made devices that can wipe the world out.
Mm-hmm. And even more importantly, could turn people into monsters, maybe.
And that's another thing that makes it almost a little more cynically romantic, where now it's us killing us because it's a nuclear weapon. We built it as humans, and that was our downfall. Whereas before, they don't go around making the plague, like going, oh, let's have fun with this. Oh, that was a bad idea. But so that's also interesting that you brought that up. I never thought about it before, where most of the concepts that we have in post-apocalyptic genre now is our own doing.
Well, I also love that, they always have some sort of like religious overtones to them. And, like that, the whole idea that Revelation's gone and went is like really exciting and fun. And, I may be an atheist now, but I still romanticize about end times and because it's exciting, like you read an entire Bible and that last part is the most exciting part. It's pretty awesome.
I do think it is nice. The best science fiction in the world is allegorical.
Sure.
And it's going to tie threads to it's like how they put Star Trek up on this big pedestal for having advanced social kinds of awareness and racial and international complex ideas in a framework that people can digest because, hey, it's space,
right? Right.
Well, now we've got, zombies were kind of categorized as the communist threat for a long time, and that's part of the reason that I don't like it because, to be honest, there's not the whole communism versus what we have in the United States.
It hasn't been communism though since the 1960s.
Yeah.
I mean,
anyway, the Soviet whole scare and all that stuff, and it's us against them, and
it's
really
been consumerism mainly though.
Hey, in Metro, you're fighting Nazis and communists, and it takes place in 2033. So
right, exactly. Right. But what I guess I'm saying is that it has become a really rich tapestry for us to put different kinds of social issues and political issues and on on a dinner platter that we can all digest. Like even Fallout, with as ironic and kind of snarky and irreverent as that game is, it's still teaching you some things about how we are as a society and how we live.
Okay, really quick, just to push this together and bring a little theory to you on how post-apocalypticism. This is a fucking terrible word to have to say so many times.
Yeah.
And video games came together is, let's put this point together, where a lot of nuclear post-apocalypse fiction, and whether it be in books, manga, or movies, comes from Japan because they fucking lived it in a small extent.
Yeah, watch Grave of the Fireflies.
Well, and as we went through last week, we talked about Japan's early influence on gaming as a whole. If we take the fact that the nuclear age had a stronger effect on Japan, and especially when it comes to mutations, I mean, that's where we get Godzilla. That's where we get a whole lot of Japanese stuff has apocalypse themes to it because, again, they dealt with what pretty much was an apocalypse on a small scale of, 2 cities, that has probably influenced the gaming world. And then also I just want to bring up a game really quick that I don't know if everyone's familiar with, but you should be. It's a game called Wasteland. It came out in 87, I think.
On the Sinclair.
It came a bunch of stuff. It came out, on old computers. Yes.
Isn't that the precursor to Fallout?
It's basically the precursor to Fallout.
What is this called?
It's called Wasteland.
Wasteland.
Okay.
And
Wasteland 2 just went through Kickstarter.
Well, that's basically only because Fallout has done so well, and the Fallout guys have been pretty open about, we stole a lot of stuff for the original Fallout from Wasteland. We were all fans of this game. It's kind of the video game grandfather of almost the whole genre, but certainly the post-apocalypse Fallout style.
The progenitor
of it. Yeah, it started a whole lot of stuff. So if you haven't played Wasteland or you're not familiar with it, look it up. I believe you can actually get it free online, the original one. You can just find it and play it because it's a pretty old school game. It looks like it's kind of like a real-time strategy sort of type of thing. But it's about a group of people living in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. So there you go.
Nice.
So we talked about nuclear post-apocalypse. Let's talk about the fun one, the one that Greg loves the most. Let's talk about zombies.
Zombie apocalypse.
Yay! So Carter, how do you feel about zombies?
Or zombocalypse.
Zombocalypse.
Okay. Well, for me, I love the concept of zombies just as I love the concept of most things horror. I would not ever say I like Twilight, but I love the vampire theory. I don't believe in them either. I love the concept of them. But with zombies, it actually took me a while to get into them. At first, I was like, okay, they're just kind of slow, or I didn't really get much depth with them. But then I saw 28 Days Later, and I started going, okay, now these things are formidable. These things are great. Because pretty much the first zombie movie, White Zombie, was based off of the old Haitian, I don't know if you call it mythology or whatnot, but about making zombies. And that was a real concept back then. And they weren't really monsters yet. And that was kind of a slow movie.
They weren't even undead. They were really just brainwashed people.
Right. Because they would use the blowfish poison to... I don't want to... They basically would make zombies.
Yeah. I mean, that's legitimate, has almost some roots in science and history of weird Haitian practices. Yeah.
Right, and so that was the first movie, and it's pretty slow. I do like faster movies, but I love the classics, so I gave it a shot, and it's interesting. Bela Lugosi was in it. But moving on to that, I love the concept of the evolution of zombies, and it took me a while to even really catch on to how cool they could be. The first zombie movie I remember ever seeing was, I believe it's Return of the Living Dead 3.
That's a rough one with the girl
where
zombie.
she puts the metal all in her and stuff like that. Yeah. Ever since then, I've had a hankering for girls with piercings and fake red hair. So probably from that movie.
See, I got the thing with from the first one with the mohawk and girls with big boobs and leg warmers.
Raise your hand if your girlfriend's a goth girl. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I didn't raise my hand.
Your girlfriend's not a goth girl?
No.
What is she, like some trendy chick or something? All right.
Yeah, so from then I've noticed that zombies started saying, all right, we can do it too. Like zombies like, we can do this too, we have a chance. And they started running and they started being violent. And then you have the concept of viruses, even making zombies. They're not undead. It's not a magic. It became earthly, and that changed it. it became something that could happen here, not just magic, which doesn't exist to a lot of people, yada, yada. So that's a concept that I like a lot where it is now. Zombies, where they can be fast, they can be aggressive. You really need to step up your own game. That's why I like Dead Island so much. I love the concept of just something that has no fear. Its goal is to eat you. So it's not you can't expect it to do the same thing over and over. It doesn't have A, B. It's just a zombie that's trying to kill you. And I like that concept.
So do you like more of your fast-paced adventure type of games, or are you more of a survivalist, almost survival horror type of guy? I mean, let's just say, are you Resident Evil 4 or are you Resident Evil 2?
Actually, I think what I like is both sides of the spectrum, where I like it to be a role-playing, slower, figure out your character, build a character, or on the other side where it's all adrenaline, like
Left 4 Dead.
Like Left 4 Dead.
Yeah,
which
something
I love
like that
game, to be honest.
I did play a little bit, and I feel like it's very similar to Dead Island, but it's instead of melee, it's firearm.
Yeah.
Because you don't use firearms a lot in Dead Island, but in Left 4 Dead, it's all firearm.
Well, in Left 4 Dead, there's no story. It's just 4 people,
right.
killing zombies, trying to get to the end.
Survive the
But it's a good game. I love both of those. Those guys are the competitors, though, so maybe we shouldn't talk about them too much to you, eh?
So, Madison, how do you feel about zombies? I don't know if you've ever... I don't remember really what your theory on zombies is.
Careful.
I definitely fall into the more survival horror type of zombie area. Greg.
It's all good.
And, my favorite and would fall into like the Silent Hill, like undead nurses, like really just fucking twisted. Like they're not even zombies anymore. They're just mutilations that used to be human.
But that's not really post-apocalypse.
I understand. You asked me about zombies.
I know, but okay. Let's reframe the question. I've been in court all day, guys. I'm going to reframe the question. Post-apocalypse zombies.
Post-apocalypse zombies. Honestly, it doesn't really matter too much. I really enjoyed, whatchamacallit.
Me too.
What was the game? Greg made my brain disappear.
You're having Greg brain. That's awesome.
I'm having Greg brain. The one with the guy and the girl.
The Walking Dead or Left 4 Us? Last of Us.
Last of Us. Thank you.
Left 4 Us.
Same thing.
Yeah.
You don't know words.
It's a Jonathan Sparks zombie game.
So, so The Last of Us really struck a chord for me because, the zombie things in that, they really, really were terrifying to me. And I found them to be really formidable, but it wasn't so much about the zombies. They were just like a catalyst in that story.
I've always felt that zombies in video games, especially like post-apocalyptic ones where you're like having to avoid hordes or like a couple shamblers that are just out there, I always felt like they should have more of an evolution to the actual like rot and decay. Like a newer zombie's going to be faster and more scary, and like the one that's been around and starving for like a month is going to be a pretty emaciated, not very scary corpse. And I feel like when you're out in the middle of the wasteland, that's the last thing. Like, I'm more, like, afraid of, like, rad scorpions and, like, big mutant animals. Like, I've never thought that the zombie was actually that scary in a post-apocalyptic game.
Well, that's what even happens in, like, even in Resident Evils. It's like the zombies are in the first level, and then eventually by the end, you're fighting nothing but,
Hunters
tyrants with missile launchers grafted onto their bodies and giant mutant reptiles, because very quickly the idea of just zombies gets not that. So the only time when zombies do and where games do it well are games like Dead Rising or Left 4 Dead, where it's 100% a numbers game. The zombies in Dead Rising are not aggressive, and they're very easy to take down, but there are fucking tons of them. And the whole point is you have to run through this crowd. And you'll run out into a group of 30 zombies. You see 30 zombies in Dead Rising and you go, that's nothing. That's no big deal. But you'll walk out into a courtyard and go, oh my God. And there's literally hundreds of them on the screen. Yeah. And it becomes a numbers game. You can't hit them all at the same time. And even if they are weak,
So have you seen the stuff from Dead Rising 3? They're fitting like thousands of zombies on the screen.
And that's perfect, because that's where you can still take something as what, yes, a zombie is fairly squishy. It's slow, it's shambling, it's not that powerful, and you can make it very, very powerful and scary because it's in that numbers.
To be fair, in the Dead Rising, when you've got the courtyard with 1 billion, you do get a car or something to go driving over.
I get the snowblower or the leaf blower with the umbrella, and it shoots it out, and you can run and make a battering ram out of an umbrella. Best weapon in that game. So
seems
fun.
to me I found a battery and I put it in like a golf cart.
Yeah, you can. Or you can just run around with a lawnmower.
Yeah.
Dude,
That's what makes
Dead Alive style, like zombie cleaning.
That's what makes that cool. So let me. Somebody else have something
you
else?
nailed it on the zombie thing. It is a numbers game, and it also is counting on some of the heroes or protagonists of the story to do something dumb.
Yeah.
In order to create drama.
to get ballsy.
To accidentally it's always somebody accidentally lets them in.
Right.
That's all it ever is. Somebody leaves the fucking back door open, and the zombies get in.
Or how about this trope? Johnny got bit. What do we do?
Let's not shoot him because we care about him or some bullshit.
But I love Johnny.
To get back onto the post-apocalypse, really, and talk about this last thing before we do a triple barrel shotgun. It's been brought up a couple times. In the new hotness for post-apocalyptic stuff it's not the post-apocalypse, it's the other humans.
People.
And just to get this out of the way for me, I really don't like that. I get it. People are fucking terrible. We are awful. We are shitty. And I got that. I get that. That happens in real life. I listen to NPR on my way to work every morning when I have a job, and I hear about all the awful shit that we do to each other now when there's not zombies. And I don't really like that in games. I want to fight against the zombie hordes or the mutant hordes, or I want to survive the wasteland. I don't really like when it gets really heavy-handed about how, it's not really the zombies or the mutants, it's us.
Deep down, we're all assholes.
I'm just like, God, I'm over that. I don't find that enjoyable at all. And that's what a lot of post-apocalypse stuff is right now. And I blame 100% The Walking Dead.
Yeah. Yes. And that's what it is that was like the zombie theme for like the early 2000s. You know, I think it's kind of getting away from it a little bit. You don't see it as often anymore after The Last of Us.
That was just like 6 months ago, though. I mean, like, I think we're still there for like another 5 years.
It's not as big as it was a few years ago, I would say.
Here's the thing: when the chips are down, human beings more often than not band together to find a solution than they do work against each other. That's just the way it is. Mm-hmm. New York loses a couple of towers, and you see the United States banding together and giving away half their possessions just to make sure the other guy's okay. Boston gets bombed, and all of a sudden they throw the World Series and the Cardinals can't win a game, right? It's just the way it works.
Carter?
Well, I feel that that's basically because we have the public eye everywhere. Everyone still knows that we're gonna be safe. That's just a little contained area. I actually enjoy the concept that when there is nobody watching, there is no tomorrow as far as you know, there's no government who's just gonna come when they can. You've got nothing else. You have no trust on anybody. Like, I like that concept where anybody you see can be a dangerous person. Even when I was playing the live action Dystopia Rising, if I'm walking from my camp area to the big cabin, I want to make sure that I walk in the trees. I walk in the trees so that no one sees me. And I like that idea. I really like knowing that you really have to prove yourself, and everybody else is either going to be with you or against you. And I don't know. I guess I find that very exhilarating would be the best word.
Well, I totally 100% respect your opinion on that matter, but I believe that the real deal, honestly, would be that Ayn Rand was wrong, and that they'd string the assholes who want to be counterproductive up and get rid of them, and everybody else that's left works it out.
But that wouldn't happen in one day.
Yeah. Well, no, true. And like I said, I totally respect your opinion. I hope it's better than that.
Fair warning, I'm one of those assholes.
Yeah, I'm going to be right there. Let me borrow some of those guns, man. So let's go. Let's go kill some people.
All right. If you want to see the worst example of how this is already playing out in real life right now.
Kiev.
Do yourself a favor. No, even worse than that, man. This is anarchy at its utmost destructive. Look up Twitch Plays Pokemon. Have you heard about this?
Yeah.
Have you heard about Twitch Plays Pokemon?
No, I want to see how this plays
Trust
in,
me.
how this connects.
A guy made a Twitch channel for Pokemon Blue, and he programmed the comment section on Twitch to, if you type up, it'll move the character up. B hits the B button. He programmed the comment section or to the live chat to the actual controls of the game. You have 60 to 80,000 people all playing one game of Pokemon at the same time, typing in what they're what they want to do. And it very quickly devolved into a large group of players who wanted to play the game and see if they could get through it, and a smaller but still large group of players who wanted to be total assholes and will do things like force the character to the PC and release all of his Pokemon out into the wild.
Wow.
Or will do things just like in the middle of battle, just keep trying to use the SS Ann ticket in battle for it, totally trying to destroy it, to the point where they actually made a system in it called Anarchy and Democracy, where if enough people vote for democracy, then they have like a kind of a vote system, but if enough people vote for anarchy, it goes back to the other way. It is the most fucked up thing. I've been watching it all week. It's something
madness.
that turned from a funny little let's all play Pokemon together into this very real somebody's gonna do reports on this thing. But it's true. As soon as you throw the rules out the window, you've got a large group of people who really want to let's complete this game. And yes, no one's survival is at stake here, but it rings true. Let's complete this game. Let's do a task. And it could be the majority, but that minority of other people who are assholes can disrupt it a lot easier. And I kind of feel that's where the post-apocalyptic things goes, is we could all sing Kumbaya and shit, but one Madison runs in with her bullshit gun or whatever you called it earlier.
Bastard rifle.
Rifle.
She
I
can
got my
fuck stuff
nails
up.
back.
So that means that we then go, well, we should all get along, but we should also be prepared, and then that kind of makes us into assholes. So it's a legitimate
Secure
point.
the peace,
I think
prepare for war.
it's a legitimate point on both sides. I'm just saying, as a narrative for video games, particularly, I don't really like it.
That's funny. I still say that anonymity has no place in social conscious. If you want a real distribution of power, you cannot be anonymous. It's got to be a face value situation. And when you've got face value, people who are total pricks on the internet tend to be really freaking nice when you meet them face to face.
Yeah.
So,
Were you gonna say something?
No.
So before we wrap up this discussion, let's just talk about some of our favorite post-apocalypse games. Carter, since you are the guest, give us like a top 3 of just post-apocalypse games that you just love.
I'm gonna obviously Fallout. That would take up all 3, but I won't do that, obviously. So I'll just say the Fallout genre is number 1. That's what got me into a lot of me recognizing what I like about post-apocalyptic stuff. The first and second, all the way till now, I love everything about Fallout completely. When I play it, like, I kind of just drift off and imagine that I live there. Like, I love Fallout so much. And then, second to that, it's gotta be DayZ, because I don't play the game all the time, but when I play it, I know I'm gonna feel something. My blood's gonna boil at some point. I'm gonna be scared at some point. And then after that, I don't know. This is gonna be kind of weird, but one game that I always really liked in the genre is Manhunt, the first one.
Okay. All right.
I really like that concept of that was all humans on you, and you had to be very sneaky, very not guns a-blazing or you would die. And I really like the different ways you could kill people. I thought that was really interesting how they did that in there. And what's funny is at the end of the game, the gunplay, I thought it was very well done. And it wasn't even a gunplay game. It was just like for one level, you happen to get a gun, and it was so good. But yeah, I love Manhunt. I love that game.
Nice.
That's cool.
I would definitely go Fallout 3 specifically for the top slot. And then after that, I really enjoyed Last of Us. I felt things in Last of Us that I hadn't felt in other video games.
I haven't played that one. I haven't played that one, so I can't put that anywhere.
It's pretty awesome.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
I want to play it.
It's fucking crazy. And then in my number 3 slot, you know what? Far Cry Blood Dragon.
I was just gonna
that
say.
was so good.
Yeah.
That is post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
I would also put a Blood Dragon as my new recent into like it's just so funny, and I love the mutant blood dragons. They're pretty fun.
They're awesome.
That's a fun mechanic.
I'm out.
I like the after society's fallen apart survival games like recently I played Lone Survivor, which is basically a 2D Silent Hill, and that game was awesome, and I'm definitely going to play that again. I don't know if you would consider the Souls games, Dark Souls games, as being post-apocalyptic, because basically the societies have crumbled and all that's left is just the final nights to kind of beat the darkness or whatever. I kind of like that mentality a lot.
If Heath can shoehorn Dark Souls into any genre.
I will.
Favorite puzzle game? Well, there's
a couple puzzles
there. So Dark Souls.
Yeah, Dark Souls. And I'm sure that there's something else that I'll think about later on after the fact, and it'll be like a Dragon Quest game or something. But yeah, that's it.
Greg, what you got?
What is the video game that was made by Valve? It was probably their most popular title.
Half-Life.
Yeah.
That's an excellent one.
I like that one. It's an Asian. It's an Asian invasion. Post-apocalyptic game. No, alien invasion. Post-apocalyptic game. And then I'd have to go after that with Final Fantasy X. I thought had a really epic kind of post-apocalyptic feel.
It totally did.
Yeah. I would agree.
And then just to get back into Dan's good graces, I'm going to say Wind Waker for that third one.
Yeah.
Plants vs. Zombies. That's pretty much it. I fucking love that game. Cool. Does anybody else have any closing arguments before I judge the gavel down or whatever?
I'm waiting for Fallout 4. And we're gonna hold our breath and see how Mad Max
It's
comes
one of my
out.
favorite Depeche Mode songs.
I'm waiting on Mad Max like crazy.
I'm waiting for
I still, man, go back and look at that trailer, that teaser trailer from E3. It just looks like it's Fallout 4.
That's what
I screamed like, "Oh, Fallout 4!" Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Fucking Mad Max. Why?
Yeah, when I saw it, that was the second episode of First World Podcast that I was on, the E3 episode, and you were like, "Check this out," and I was like, "Fallout 4, Fallout 4,
Mad Max,
Mad Max,
the Road Warrior."
So
I'm not that disappointed though. I'm hoping it's good.
We can all hope. I hope it's going to be good too.
There's not enough shoulder pads and eagle feathers to make that game good. I'm sorry, it's gonna be Rambo: First Blood, the movie, the game.
The
that
new
just came out.
Halo. The new Halo looks pretty awesome too. And he was, Master Chief was walking along in the desert, had the giant scarf and the whole, it was really cool.
The weird thing
imagery.
is when you get into space games, not to go too far into that because we need to do our turbo barrel shotgun. When you get into space games, I was thinking about that, and a lot of those, there's apocalypses on different planets, but it's hard to call it a post-apocalypse because a lot of times they can leave, because they can leave the planet. I mean, Mass Effect, there's basically an apocalypse, on what's that, the genophage.
Yeah.
Is basically, but you can't really say it's a post-apocalypse game because there's like 50 other planets that are just fucking fine that don't have any apocalypses going on.
I think apocalypse can be a global thing. It doesn't have to be a universe thing. Don't Starve is my third favorite post-apocalypse. Don't Starve? Did I say that?
He didn't say that.
No.
Didn't you?
No.
I thought you said.
No.
What was that other one?
That's the first time this has been mentioned because I know about the game and it has not been mentioned yet.
Yeah, that's a really fun game that I've spent too much time playing recently.
Okay. Well, don't die. Nobody die.
Nobody died.
No nuclear wars during this break. But we're going to come back and we're going to have a triple barrel shotgun round about the items we would bring with us to the apocalypse. We'll be right back. And welcome back. This week we are going to have another fantabulous round. This week, our question is, what 3 items from video games would you take with you into the apocalypse? Heath, start it off.
I would take a shovel with me from The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past.
Very good choice.
Cool. Greg.
For me, Nuka-Cola. Because if I'm going to be out there, I might as well be high on radioactivity.
Yeah!
I would bring a fire flower from Super Mario Brothers.
What?
There you go. Did I steal yours?
Yeah, you stole
we didn't
mine.
go over it. Fire flower, baby. Burn up some shit.
Fucking hell. All right, so I would bring a lockpick from BioShock Infinite.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so there.
I would bring the box from Metal Gear Solid because when you put that over, no one can see
No
you.
one sees you.
And then I would be like hidden from anything.
And you could live in there.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
perfect.
right?
Good choice.
I live in the box anyway.
Yeah, I agree. I would. My second thing I would bring is seeds from Don't Starve. Only I wouldn't use them to catch birds. Oh, maybe I'd use them to catch birds, but I would also start growing things like Harvest Moon style with my shovel.
Cool.
Second for me is Nuka-Cola. No. A lighter from Resident Evil because you need fire and who knows, there may be a tapestry you need to get behind.
Yep, and get a gem.
That's what I have the fire flower for. There you go. I would also bring seeds, but I would bring seeds from Plants vs. Zombies so I could just plant all sorts of pea-shooting, flaming
That's cheating.
monster things around me to help protect me.
No,
Jerk.
My garden.
This sounds like a pretty cool garden.
All right,
I'm into
fine,
that.
fine. So I will bring a remedy from Final Fantasy VI
Good choice.
because I don't want to get sick.
I'm into that.
Well, my second item would be a Pip-Boy from Fallout so I can keep track of all the stats, how I'm doing. Maybe get a little bit of VATS in there if I need to take care of anyone.
Exactly.
I wonder how heavy a Pip-Boy is. Like,
Can't be that
I've thought
heavy.
about that. It's a cathode ray screen. I mean, that thing's got to weigh like 40 pounds.
Oh, yeah. It's probably pretty heavy.
So my final one, I thought about this long and hard, and I thought about bringing some sort of vice, something good. And I think if the apocalypse was here, I'd bring cigarettes from Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, because you can trade them. If you can fucking smoke them, who gives a shit? It's the fucking end of the world.
Yeah, no one's going to be like, smoking gives you cancer.
I'd be like,
Yeah,
shut
so
the
does
fuck
the
up.
radioactive
Right.
waste all
Here's-
around us.
Here,
Yeah.
give me 2 smokes and I'll give you half this Nuka-Cola.
Exactly. I mean, I think that it would have to be cigarettes.
I hope someone brought cups.
Yeah. Now we're sharing. We're sharing. Sharing is caring. My third item is going to be the pick hammer weird thing from Tomb Raider. That thing is the most
The
useful
rock
and
hammer.
clever tool in any game I've ever played. It's really cool. So yeah, climbing mountains, chopping down trees,
Open up boxes,
springing traps,
Yeah, hell yeah.
making bows. It's a cool tool and Lara Croft, awesome. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I would bring a fairy from The Legend of Zelda because when I eventually died, it would just bring me right back
Bring
to
you
life.
back to life.
And once it comes out and brings me back to life, I got a fucking empty bottle that we can drink Nuka-Cola out of.
That's right.
Oh.
Winner!
Yeah.
All right, since you stole Fire Flower,
I'm sorry, dear.
because that was my number one shot, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take with me the backpack that whatever it is in Final Fantasy IV where they can carry infinite items in it, I'm going to bring that with me.
Backpack of holding.
Yes.
The satchel. It's a satchel.
Anything I find, going in there.
going in there.
It weighs
Okay.
nothing.
Well, what I decided to do for the third item is a diamond pickaxe from Minecraft because that can break anything. If I need to go anywhere, because I've never seen obsidian in my life, so I'm pretty sure if I need to get anywhere, I can just go ahead. Or bedrock. Yeah, bedrock. And so that's what I chose for my third.
Yeah,
and go ahead.
You can literally just like dig forever underground. I mean, you could just dig yourself a whole city tunnel underground pretty
Fucking
easily
diamonds.
with the
Right.
pickaxe. Yeah, that happens in real life, man.
I know.
And then I can get diamonds, just like look around down there and be like, oh, here's some more diamonds. Great, now I can trade these.
They're not worth as much as bottle caps.
It's true.
All right.
Cool. That was fun. That was Turbo Shotgun Round. Before we go to our normal wrap-up and shout-outs, we just want to talk to Carter a little bit more and hear a little bit about you and what you do at EA. We will go ahead and say, yes, we know you have a non-disclosure agreement, so feel free to break it and give us some news.
Tell us the juice.
Tell us the juice.
Give us the deets.
We need to get on the map, and our friend from LucasArts, Tammy, has let us down. She still hasn't told me that game that they were working on, so...
we're about a year out, though. I bet you we get a break.
You can come live with me, bro. It's all right. Just
you both can be unemployed.
Yeah, we can both be unemployed together, and we can play lots of fucking video games. Now, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do at EA?
Basically, what I am is I'm a contracting test lead over SimCity. So basically, I kind of help manage the team. And I pretty much sit there and try and help out with the situations going on, but I also delegate actions. I go out, stuff like that. So I'm just kind of one of those guys saying, you think you could get me these reports by Saturday? Thanks. No, I'm just kidding. I don't do that there. That'd be weird.
TPS reports.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Did you get the cover letter in the right place? Yeah. Sorry. Flat joke.
But I actually have my own stapler there. I welded it. So my name is just welded into that. You can't scratch it off. But, so yeah, I pretty much do that. But I've been on the SimCity team for a while, even when it launched and it was very rough. And I had to jump on the night team to help out, stay there till 1 a.m. for a few nights. And, it was a launch that definitely wasn't as smooth as everyone wanted, but it was not for lack of trying. It definitely, we put a lot of time into it. It's one thing I really like about the job. I'm good at it. I really enjoy working with that media. I really enjoy being on the other side, finding issues. I mean, I've pulled apart the whole SimCity budget system just to make sure it was right, and like took pictures and explained things and added features in the game. So I definitely feel like more of me has gone into SimCity than the other games I was on, which was I was on Madden, not the one being worked on now, but the one before.
We are all big football fans here.
Oh yeah. The funny thing is I'm not a huge football fan, but I was playing the game a lot and I wasn't really that good at it.
Sure.
But I'm very good at learning. Like, I was like, okay, short passes work for me. Short passes work for me. So I started getting better than everyone on the team who's been on the team for a while. And I'm this little, like, just weird-looking kid. I just way different than anyone else. And I'm, like, beating them all. So I'm sure that was really fun.
Well, I'm a big fan of your NHL games. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
For real. Those are awesome.
Yeah. And then I was on Warfighter, Medal of Honor Warfighter. That was fun to be on. I'm not very good at console first-person shooters at all. I was talking to Madison about that earlier, how I just can't aim very well. So I had the nickname of, it's just Carter. Because, like, testing the game, I'd come around like, hey, guys, wait, hold still. Like,
that's funny.
No, you're moving. And on the computer, I'm a lot better. And but it was fun to be on there.
I'm a pretty big fan of the BioWare stuff, and I know you guys are kind of similar. There's an ownership situation there, right? EA.
Yeah, they're connected. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how exactly, but I know my last boss, Kyle Thayer, he moved over to Texas to work for the BioWare company.
Cool.
And so they're still connected. I know that, but I don't know exactly how. We still can talk on the same company messenger.
Neat.
Yeah, and one thing about working with Max's team is the people I work with are really fun. We joke around a lot when we're in there. I'm in the leads room now talking to them, and there's Tunak and Brandon. They kind of work on stuff over there, and they're really fun. So
did you say one of the guys' names is Tunak?
Yeah.
Wow, that name is from outer space. That's really cool.
Okay. Well then.
Have you met Will Wright?
No, I have not.
Lame.
No. They're over in LA, and I'm in Baton, so I would meet from over there.
What about Simpsons Tapped Out? I understand that's a pretty big cash cow for them.
Yeah, I have one of my coworkers. She plays that game a lot too.
It's a clever little bastard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fun. And there is in the waiting room. There's a commercial for it, and sometimes I get at work too early, and I've seen that commercial so many times. I have not played the game yet. I'm sure it's fun.
Well, it's free to play, man. Just get your phone out
and then spend $100 while playing it.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. So I've actually been spending too much time and money on making outfits for that Dystopia Rising.
Nice.
make these outfits. I get leather jackets, cut them up, put metal on them. Like I really get into it. It's really immersive.
That's the LARP. The
LARP. The
okay.
LARP. It's a lot of fun with my Daywalker brothers out there.
Can you do me a favor and send an email to me, and we'll post it on the show as well about that game, because I'm really curious about it, and if I am, I'm sure a lot of our listeners would be too.
Me too. We might have to have you back to talk about LARPing, because I don't know anybody who does it seriously.
I used to do it.
It's kind of a joke, I think, unfortunately, and certainly in mainstream still, it's kind of considered a joke, mainly because of that YouTube video.
Of course.
But dude, it's something that quite honestly, if my wife wouldn't just punch me in the face, I would totally be really into. That sounds just fucking right up my alley.
Have you seen Role Models, the movie Role Models?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and now one thing that's funny is this is a post-apocalyptic LARP. It's not a medieval LARP. And
Sure.
I don't know if I would be jumping right into a medieval LARP. I do feel like I don't know. I did the SCA for a while, though. That was fun.
I did SCA. I was a pirate in SCA. That was
nice.
awesome.
So I will say easily that some of my favorite tabletop RPG sessions were when it was a lot of heavy RP and not a lot of die rolling. And to me, that's where some of the best LARPs kind of evolved from. White Wolf had some incredible LARPing setups for a long time. And although I never played them, I owned the books and read them. So, pretty neat stuff, man. I like I said, I'm sincerely interested. So please send that stuff along.
Huge into the Masquerade. That's all. Cool.
Yeah, Masquerade was fun.
Cool. Well, good to know you, man. I'm sure we'll have you back on the show again. Now's the time of the show where we just do some quick shout-outs. So let's go around the table. Let's go around the horn real quick. Heath, what do you got?
Happy birthday, Greg!
Happy birthday, Greg!
Woo, Greg!
Greg is turning 40. The
Yep.
day this episode goes live.
Nope.
The
Wednesday.
day after the episode goes live. So send him lots of things on the Facebooks.
Lots
and on
of
the Twitters.
love.
Also, I want to remind you about my show next Saturday, the 8th, at the Firebird for Gerald's 40th birthday.
Not next Saturday. It's two
That's
Saturdays.
Dr. Good.
Saturdays.
2 Saturdays, yeah. Dr. Good.
And
it's
what's his pedal
birthday.
company called?
Physics Punk Pedals.
There you go.
Who made my BitBot, and it's going to sound awesome there. And it's free. Come. It'll be great.
Greg.
Technical Earth Syndicate.
Now on Stitcher Radio.
Now on Stitcher Radio.
Good for them.
Really excited about those guys and what they're doing lately. And then also I want to give a shout out to our buddy Mike, who was on the cast not too long ago. He is opening a new bar called The Ready Room. It's going to be, it looks like, and I don't have any official numbers, but about a 1,200 seat venue.
That's the size of the pageant.
A little smaller than the pageant. Like, we used to have a place in town called the Mississippi Nights, which is a similar
It's close
size.
to like the Blue Note.
Yeah, exactly.
So I actually live a few blocks from where it's going to be.
Yeah.
And I was walking down the street for coffee the other day, and there was
Did Mike take you
contractors in
inside?
there. I didn't see Mike, but there was contractors, and they had the doors open, and I was like peeking in my head.
Huge space, right?
It's huge. Mhm.
Yeah. And that's it for me.
All right. I'd like to give a shout out to my sister over in Kansas City. She's got her metal band out there, Plague. They're doing some shows coming up. They're really great. Check them out. Beyond that, shout out to Carter. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah,
Yes,
dude,
thank
for
you,
real.
Carter.
Thank you.
It's been awesome. Carter, what do you have?
I just want to say, if you want to see any of my photos, it's on spadephoto.com. I am trying to do more post-apocalyptic stuff on my promotions page. I put cyberpunk picture I did recently. But yeah, I do a lot of professional stuff, like for Zed cards, headshots. But on my own time, I like to do.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I like to do a lot of fantasy shoots, which is just like my creativity goes and stuff like that. And then other than that, you were talking about Twitch TV. I have a friend, Lancey Poo, who I don't know if you've ever seen him on there. He's this big mountain man looking guy, and he's my old roommate. That the reason I moved here. In Baton Rouge, and he does Minecraft videos on Twitch, and he's pretty big. He's works with the professionals. I don't know who they are, but yeah. So other than that, thank you guys. This has been a lot of fun. So
cool. I'm glad you had a good time.
Awesome. Well, I guess that's it. We'll wrap up with the normal stuff. You can find us on Stitcher Radio. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us on the Xbox Live podcast marketplace. You can find us at www.fwpodcast.com. And yeah, that's it.
Yep, we're awesome.
I hope the world
Zombies roll.
Zombies roll.
You're so wrong.
So right.
Thanks a lot, Carter. Good night, everybody.
All right.